This is our continuous coverage of Donald Trump. And the big story that has now come in is that he has in fact just walked into the Manhattan court. And as we speak, Donald Trump has arrived at the Manhattan District Attorney's office in Lower Manhattan. And technically what this means that Donald Trump is under arrest and in police custody before his upcoming arraignment. Now, Donald Trump is expected to be fingerprinted as part of the arrest, although it is unclear whether a mugshot of the former President of the United States of America will be taken. And once these formalities are done, that is, he's fingerprinted, etc., he'll then be taken to a courtroom where he'll be arraigned, which means an appearance that is expected to be fairly quick and routine. But this represents what many are dubbing is almost an unbelievable moment in American political history. A former President of the United States of America has been criminally charged, although officially what are the charges that Donald Trump at this moment faces is not clear, because the charges are still under a sealed cover. No one, or at least no member of the public, knows what the charges are. Now, Trump, according to reports, is not expected to be handcuffed following his arrest, as he remains under constant law enforcement protection. This is the big story that we are tracking on WION. These are live visuals from in front of the Manhattan courthouse as we speak, where President Donald Trump, after making through his journey in a convoy of about 10 odd cars, has now made his way to the Manhattan District Attorney's office in Lower Manhattan. And technically what this means is that he is already under arrest and in police custody before his upcoming arraignment. And my colleague Susan Tehrani at this moment is in front of the Manhattan court, and she's tracking the developments as we speak. Susan, this is almost a surreal and an unbelievable moment. A former President of the United States of America, as we speak, has presented himself to the Manhattan District Attorney's office, where he is technically now under arrest.
That's right, Mohammed. As you mentioned, just entered this. Behind me, accompanied and escorted. He is now at around 2:50 time. As you can see, security is we are very. Police officers are still on. The crowd has been barricaded.
Tehrani's line. Susan, we'll try fix the line that we've got with you. There seems to be a bit of an issue there, but we'll come back to you as soon as the line with you is fixed. But this is what is happening at this moment. Donald Trump, the former President of the United States of America, as we speak, by virtue of walking into the Manhattan District Attorney's office, is technically under arrest and is presently in police custody before his upcoming arraignment. And this is the part of the procedure that will be followed. Donald Trump will be fingerprinted as part of the arrest, although it is unclear at this moment whether a mugshot of him, as is shown of criminals in the United States, whether that will be taken or not is not clear. He'll next be taken to a courtroom where he'll be arraigned. This is, of course, an appearance that is expected to be quick and routine. But this is an unprecedented moment in American history, and Donald Trump, according to reports, is not expected to be handcuffed following his arrest, as he'll remain under constant surveillance of law enforcement protection. So this is, of course, the case of the hush money payments to the tune of $130,000, which Donald Trump allegedly paid to Stormy Daniels. And Stormy Daniels claims that she had an affair, a consensual sexual affair with Donald Trump. And this happened in 2006, and just before 2016 presidential bid, Donald Trump reportedly, in fact, paid her hush money to the tune of $130,000 American dollars. And this is, of course, the case that we are tracking. And these are the visuals from in front of the Manhattan court as we speak. Donald Trump has come forth and has turned himself over, and Donald Trump is under arrest. This of course, is the big headline of the moment. A former President of the United States of America is presently under arrest at the Manhattan District Attorney's office in Lower Manhattan. He is presently in police custody. This is according to reports. And as per procedure, he is expected to be fingerprinted as part of the arrest, although it is unclear whether he'll be photographed, that is, a mugshot of the former president will be taken, because this is something that is again part of the routine procedure which happens in America. And Trump is not expected to be handcuffed following his arrest, as he will remain under the constant law enforcement protection. So this is what the scene looks like just outside of the Manhattan lower court, and it's hard to believe that a former president of the United States of America at this moment has been arrested on criminal charges. Although, to be clear, the public, remember, has not been made aware of what the criminal charges are. This apparently is customary in the state of New York, at least, where the charges in such a high-profile case are not made public. But we will get to know once the judge has read out the charges publicly about what is it that Donald Trump has been accused of, what is he being charged of. But this, remember, is the high-profile case of Donald Trump having paid hush money to porn star Stormy Daniels. A sum of $130,000 reportedly was paid by Donald Trump to Stormy Daniels sometime in 2016 via Donald Trump's aide Stephen Cohen. And Stormy Daniels claims that she had a sexual encounter with the man who would, of course, go on to become the President of the United States of America sometime in 2006. And she says that she was paid hush money by Donald Trump to not come out and speak about this in public. But what exactly is Donald Trump going to be charged with? That's not something that is still not clear, that is not out in the public domain yet. But Donald Trump's legal team has said that Trump will plead not guilty to the charges that will be leveled against him. Now, Donald Trump has arrived at the Manhattan District Attorney's office and is presently in police custody. His arraignment in the court today, of course, begins, and he is officially now the first current or a former president of the United States of America in history to face criminal charges. Although many details about his arraignment in New York are still unclear, and this is how things, of course, stand as things proceed from here. And my colleague Susan Tehrani is getting all the details for us from New York. Susan, I hope we have a better line this time round. We're talking about Donald Trump, who's just walked inside. We're given to understand the Manhattan court. And by virtue of walking inside the Manhattan court led by the police, this technically means that Donald Trump is already under arrest.
That's absolutely correct. He just walked into this Manhattan courtroom just a few minutes ago, and it was interesting that there were so many, as you know, bystanders, not just the world media and reporters, but bystanders ready with their cell phones trying to get the shot of the former president entering that courtroom. That did not happen. Apparently, he entered from a back door. He is now officially inside, where he'll be arraigned and face the judge shortly in about an hour or so, less than an hour or so. And that's when the former president, his legal team, and us will all know basically what he's charged with, and those charges will officially be unsealed. Later on, we do know that after all of this process, the former president is expected to go to Mar-a-Lago and deliver a speech at Mar-a-Lago and talk to his supporters after that.
Absolutely, indeed. And also considering the level of interest this sensational story has generated, Susan, tell us a bit about the restrictions that the media has, because what is now being said is that the media will not be allowed to broadcast the arraignment process. It's being said that about 5 reporters will be allowed to take pictures of Donald Trump in the courtroom before the hearing begins.
Right. So there will be cameras in the hallways, but however, the judge and also Trump's legal team, they didn't want to have cameras in the courtroom live broadcasting this session, notably because the judge said he didn't want to turn it into a quote-unquote circus. And from the images that you've seen and what I can tell you outside this courtroom is a circus and a half. So you can just imagine what broadcasting that court hearing and that arraignment would entail. But as you mentioned, there will be some school photographers and possibly some video prior to Donald Trump being arraigned and facing that judge. So we will get some still shots. We will get possibly some images. But once the hearing starts, it'll be behind closed doors, yes.
Absolutely, indeed. And although as we speak, Donald Trump is presently under arrest, but he also will secure bail pretty much immediately, is also what is being reported. Because Donald Trump, according to reports, is slated to fly back to Florida following his court appearance and is slated to hold an event at Mar-a-Lago later this evening, which gives the 2024 Republican presidential hopeful a chance to respond to the charges, which will be read out in the courtroom in some time from now.
That's right. And Mohammed, I think we should say the word arrest with a grain of salt, considering the fact that he has surrendered to authorities himself in this court. And that speech that he wants to give at Mar-a-Lago will be very noteworthy to watch, because we'll see after this arraignment whether or not this judge will impose a gag order on this case and on the former president, which will basically prevent him from discussing this case. His lawyers have prepared a motion on a First Amendment issue, considering the fact that he's running for office, that they're going to challenge that. But I think that it'll be, many will say that that'll be unfair, because on the one hand, the media will be able to discuss it, but the former president himself wouldn't, and his team wouldn't be able to discuss it. So that's something that we'll be watching very closely to see whether this judge will issue that gag order, and to what extent, if so, President Trump is able to talk about this case at that Mar-a-Lago speech.
Absolutely, indeed. That of course, is something that we'll be waiting and watching as to what Donald Trump, of course, goes on to say, at the event that he has in Mar-a-Lago later this evening in the United States of America in Florida. But as we speak at this moment, Donald Trump is inside the court. This, of course, is the Manhattan court. And technically, this is how it is being reported. Technically, by virtue of Donald Trump, in fact, walking into the court and surrendering, he's presently under arrest and in police custody, is how it is being said. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.